As we all know, the NFL draft is just a couple of days away. So today, this video is all about how the Vikings should draft, and you have my mock draft going on in the background, so you can kind of read along as I'm doing it. So, first off, I will go through each draft pick and decide the direction of a mindset of each. But first, I'll rank our draft needs. Number one is corner, two offensive line, and three is wide receiver. We need immediate help in all three position groups and could even double dip in all three. Would anyone be mad with two new corners, receivers, and two new linemen? I do not think so. And luckily, this draft is deep at all three, especially wide receiver. Third, fourth, and fifth needs are defensive tackle, safety, and defensive end. Safety is currently a huge question mark on how the team plans on dealing with Anthony Harris, but don't expect a huge pick on a pure safety unless they can play nickel like Antoine Winfield Jr. Defensive tackle and defensive end could potentially use an upgrade at starter, but we'll be fine if we can't draft a day one starter, but certainly need depth at all three. And lastly, the last ones are running back, quarterback, linebacker, and tight end, where we don't need an upgrade, but they're all luxury picks. If a great player falls, you pull the trigger. Okay, so let's get into this draft. So, starting out round one. We need to leave the first round with a corner for sure. Trading up isn't that great of an idea, in my opinion, because we need as many options later on in the draft and we need depth in so many positions. The only exception, I think, if Jeffrey Okudah slides a little bit, we can't pull the trigger and take him at 3, but if he falls down to maybe at 7 or 8 range, you start thinking about it. If he gets at 10, I think you try to make a deal at that point. The value for that premium talent's so high that I would like to grab him. But don't sell a farm for him. 2 first-round picks, Anthony Harris, something like that, and you can make that happen. But let's get to more something that's more realistic, and that's just staying at pick 22. The first pick, and we need the big time to set the talent. This is the mindset here. If one of the players that are top 15-ish talent slide through, you pick them up. I think that includes the big 3 receivers, Wirfs or Kinlaw. If they're there, you jump up and down, you sign your card, throw it up there, or email it in this version, and you make your pick. Otherwise, players that have more of a realistic chance of making it, Josh Jones, CJ Henderson, Jeff Gladney, or Jalen Johnson. If they're there, you take them, or for my man Jacob Bastian, Justin Jefferson as well. That is also Jordan Reed's best fit for the Vikings at far wide receiver. He was on the board on this draft. I even traded back and we still grabbed him. Jacob, go crazy. Pick 25. Pick any of the above players, obviously, if they're there, or trade down. This is the most valuable pick, I think, to trade down, because we need second and third rounders in this draft, and use that pick for the best quality player of need. So some of these options include Winfield, Mims, Rager, Ruiz, Austin Jackson, TJ Higgins. If it sounds like a lot of names, that's because there are a lot that I like. Like I said, there's a ton of players available where the Vikings need help, and that's why you trade down here. Grab the best player and get an extra pick or two, and that's exactly what I did, and still got one heck of a home run, because there are more than one pick there, so I also traded down. Going to round 2. The Vikings currently hold pick 58 in the second round, and a lot of day one starters and cornerback and offensive tackles may be off the board by the time the Vikings will be on the clock. You can start looking at some second tier needs if one slides through. This is where I'll start considering a trade up, perhaps. Some names that you would look at is Bladlock and Malbuki for defensive tackles. Trail Lewis are some high upside defensive line options, and Duggar and Chin are the first true safeties I would consider. Some tier 1 prospects include Cleveland, Pittman, Hamler, Arnett, or Dantzler would be all potential day 1 starters, and I once again got a home run and getting Madbuki. Moving to round 3, the Vikings currently have 2 picks and a looming cliff for productive day 1 starters. Would probably the best place to move up. The Vikings have picks 89 and 105 and could have more if they traded down like I did in this mock. Some picks include Lucas Niang, who in this simulator is usually in a round 2 prospect, but I think most likely be around 3. Tyler Johnson, everybody's favorite wide receiver in this draft. Maybe the last remaining heavy contributors for top tier needs would also be a good time to look at a safety or pluck the last day 1 starter. 3 tech available like Neville Galman. Day 3. The Vikings currently have 7 picks in the last 3 rounds. I, of course, got more in this mock because all my trading down, which I only did 3 times. I limited myself. At this point, tier 1 needs should be filled. Only possible exception should be a wide receiver due to his stat class. Say you drafted a wide receiver, cornerback, an offensive tackle, and a defensive tackle. That still leaves a need at depth at cornerback. Remember, we lost 3. And receiver. The offense and defensive line is satisfied. That still leaves a huge need at safety. Norman's without Harris. And this point, the best corner available would be Amik Robertson. Hopefully, even though in this mock, as you see, he went a bunch earlier, and he'd be a small and could only play nickel. So if we get the current favorite on Vikings Twitter, Jeff Gladney, he's kind of a smaller corner too. So if we would get Gladney, I would like to also pair up a tall 6'1", 6'2"-ish corner. If we could get that in that draft, that would be fantastic. And Jonah Jackson, maybe the best pure guard in the class that might be still available. And if they go for a boomer bust prospect, which I did not, and if we go for a boomer bust prospect like Mims, Van Jefferson would be great, so we can pair up boomer bust with a high floor prospect, so you know for sure you get some day 1 value. And then I thought Travis Gilspin would be a great developmental defensive end prospect. I think leading at least 1 safety is a must in the draft, but if they go this long without drafting one, we better have kept Harris, that's for sure. If we trade Harris on draft night, I'm not sure what they're going to do if they wait this long. That's going to be one heck of a situation. And this is where Vikings could take a high value prospect to fill a lower need like Thaddeus Moss, again, like I did. I think this was a home run of a mock. If this is what happened in real life, it would be absolutely fantastic. Maybe some players that I don't know as well as some other ones that I drafted just because the simulator said they were just higher value. I know I had a chance to take Tyler Johnson and I didn't grab him. I hope you forgive me. But this is how I think the Vikings should draft. My mock might not be exactly pay less attention to the players and pay more attention to the players and how high they ranked, and that should be the idea of how we fill the needs. I know a lot of mock drafts, a lot of analysts say defensive end, let's get AJ Espinosa so we can get 4 to 5 sacks a year and have that very high floor but very low ceiling defensive end from Iowa, or Gross Matos. I don't believe that. I think corners for sure, and I would love either wide receiver or offensive tackle in the first round, and then kind of go from there. If we do trade Anthony Harris, we better get some good value, something like a 2nd round pick. I would hope he would get net that based on how good he was last year. But that was my thoughts on how the Vikings should draft come Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Live sports are almost back. It's very exciting to be a sports fan nowadays. So give me your thoughts. You can talk about the mock draft in the background. I think it was really damn good. But that the part that doesn't matter as much is more than the thoughts and how the Vikings in real life should draft, not how you can potentially get lucky running a simulation. But give me your thoughts in the comments, and we'll see you guys in the next Zero Z Vikings video. Jacob, I drafted Jefferson over Mims, though I like Mims more, but I did that for you, my man. See you guys next time.